You heard that noise. You saw the thumbnail. We're talking about the Sega Dreamcast and a very nifty little homebrew game made by someone named Spewed. Made all the way back in 2006. This is basically a visual memory unit toolkit. That's the memory card on the Sega Dreamcast, by the way. It's homebrew freeware that lets you do a ton of things, presuming you can find it on archive.org still, like I did, because the original host link is long dead. And that's if you figure out Disk Juggler and CDRs or whatever those were. Who even uses those anymore, am I right? Oh, I do. Anyways, you plug all that info into itself and you have a game, basically. This little disc contains several completed game files from people all over the world, various little fan animations designed to run on the VMU screen, a few tools and applications, and as you're probably aware by my estimates, 49 minigames that can be played on the VMU. This goes up to 65 if you include the compilations. However, due to hardware and programming restraints, some of these don't even run on the internal emulator and you have to run them on the VMU itself. So you can play 40 games on the emulator and 56 if you include the compilations. I don't want to bore you with the details here, but it took a ton of time to go through these, and only 46 console restarts, was it? Yeah. I was mainly after things that could be called an actual game, with a goal, replayability, and I judged these on overall enjoyment as well. So I shaved down this 11 category list of 129 games to 49 titles to be ranked. That way you don't have to bother going through every single thing on this disc, because really this took a ton of time to figure out. Before we jump into those though, let's take a quick tour through the other things the Dream Explorer has to offer. Oh, and I tried to record all of this via emulation, however it was a bit more buggy than usual, as you see here. I'm moving the cursor around, but I can't see any change, or sometimes even any text, so that's why we've got this set up, recording right in front of the TV itself. As you can see here, we've got OpenVMU, OpenCD, OpenPC, Options, Help, and Exit. Let's jump into this OpenVMU here to start. There's obviously all 8 of the available memory card ports. It has 4 controllers, 2 ports each. Only got the 1 VMU in there. In here you can see it's got the file manager, change color, change icon, extra blocks. I don't really suggest turning that one on just in case. You can do a save dump and a save load to your computer and from your computer, but that's, we'll get into that. There's a hex editor, which, there's the defrag, which is pretty useful, I think. The reformat, which has come in useful a couple times. There's the extra icon editor, which I can never get to work for the life of me. Got the BIOS background image, and that's just something. And then the VMU emulator itself, you can just load up the game you have saved on your VMU right there. With that extra icon file, as you can tell, there is no extra icons. So what you can do here is you can draw your own little icon, and that's cool. You can make your own little pixel arts. I am not talented, so there's a little circle thing. Not gonna save that though. Come up here to the file manager. As you can see, I just have the VMU tool options saved. We'll get into those settings and how you can get that set up. We'll get into the OpenCD later. That'll be the main bulk of the video. This next one here is OpenPC. As you can tell, it is a file browser for your PC on your Dreamcast, but you need an extra peripheral for that. Instead of just the normal dial-up connector, you need a broadband connector. As you can tell by this entry price, maybe not so worth it. For the options, you've got video, sound, country, menus, and VMU emulator options. For the video, we've got various things here. You can change the background image colors that I have on the text boxes there. That's the blue that I have. And then the background image, I don't even suggest setting it from here. Set that from inside the CD. You'll see later. Sound options lets you select the background music, turn it on or off, and disable the sound effects if you'd like for the menu. I don't suggest selecting this background music here either. Do that in the CD. Yeah, we'll get into that. Country option seems a bit less useful in my opinion. You want to change the language to these, and then you can change the keyboards to these. But without the language, I don't know how any of that works. It's just a bummer those no Japanese. And then the encoding, yeah, that's something. I better change these back. For the menus options, this is where I have the settings saved on the actual VMU itself. This way, whenever you turn on the console, it will start up as you have edited rather than to something like this. so maybe turn that on if you want to save your settings. I bother to keep the save path on as well, I find that pretty useful. I haven't really changed these, so just leave those on as well. The VMU options, you've got the LCD display on your controller on or off. I leave that on because that's neat. This speed is completely useless. And the position, we might want to get that set on where it's going to be here. Oh my god, I can't see anything. Don't worry about it, I'll get that set up better. And if you noticed, it said saving settings. That's where it's saving those right now onto the VMU. Every time you back out of something or edit, you know, it's cool. It's great. For the help, that just boots up the README text file that comes with the CDI file whenever you download it. It's also available there in French if you speak that. And here is a bunch of credits for everybody that helped make it. Because wow, I can only imagine this took quite a bit of effort for people back in the 90s to do. 2000s. On the quit, you have the return to boot menu and the DC load menu. Return to boot menu takes you to the actual main menu, and then return to DC load, it just makes the screen go black, so that's useless. And with that, we've gone through all of these. Let's hop into the OpenCD. If you'll notice, this is technically the parent directory. You can click it as many times as you want, it shouldn't freak out. Here you've got the extra backgrounds and wallpapers. This is where you want to select the images you'll want to use for your wallpaper. Don't bother doing that from the settings. Just come in here, select the image you like, whichever one. Next you've got the musics. This is where you want to select the background music that you have playing. And then the VMU tool things are just like little sounds. Don't even bother with those. The VMU game, that's where everything's going to be happening. All 129 games are in there. VMU icons seems to just kind of crash the console every time. It freezes it up. I can't get it to... You can look in it, but when you go to actually apply stuff, it doesn't work. So whatever. In miscellaneous, you've got things that could basically be inside the save files, but also maybe not. See, it has some extra stuff like sounds, but also has extra downloaded quests that were available only through online download and are obviously not available anymore, so not too many ways to get them. I don't think this is for PSO version 2 though. That's kind of a bummer. And then you got the Shenmue Passport, which is a lot of files. Don't know anything about that myself, so maybe that's useful to you. Now then, here's the VMU saves. This is where you have a couple different people that have compiled different games into the folders there. There's several different saves within each game, and not to mention there's technically several different games within each of these folders. So there's multiple save files that you might find use in all of these. You can press left and right on the D-pad to scroll by page, and using the triggers will take you to the very bottom or the very top of the list. And if you'll notice, inside this other one is just a bunch of other games. Not as many, and they're all just full of games and save files. Isn't that nice? Inside the VMU tool, that is basically the root file of the graphic user interface and the whole disk that you're using everything on. That's where it's pulling it all from. And then with that, we can jump into the games. There is 11 categories in here, as I mentioned. 129 games. This bonus, clock, and demo, they are not games. Bonus could just have been in miscellaneous. I don't know why it's not, but these aren't games in any sense, so they're just automatically not counted in that 129 of my list. I mean, they are in the 129 total, but not my games. And that concludes Part 1, everything the Dream Explorer has to offer minus the VMU minigames. Part 2 will include the full 49 game list review there, excluding the F&D ranks actually, because it's a review of 65 games and 9 somewhat useful little applications as well. I simply had to break this into 2 videos due to the bulk amount of footage and audio I captured, so look forward to that coming the next few days. Of course, you can get access to these videos early and a few more perks by becoming a patron over on my Patreon. Every contribution helps the cause here. and you'll even be able to have some greater sway as to what videos I make in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching these, commenting all the crazy stuff you do, and best of luck to you with your dream exploration.